Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of July 18th to the 24th, and we got 4 stories to cover, including very serious allegations that have come out in regards to what's happening in Activision Blizzard. A interesting game that I thought wouldn't come to Nintendo Switch seems to be heading to the Nintendo Switch after all. Some reports about basically that Metroid Prime Trilogy on the Switch may actually is done. It's just waiting to be Nintendo to give the okay to let it be out there. And of course, we have the NPDs for June 2021 and all. But before we get started, I do want to give a quick thought about the Steam Deck that I didn't really go into a huge amount of details of it last week, though. It was certainly an interesting announcement that Valve made about it, though, and it's going to be really interesting to see how well that does when it comes out, though. Based on everything I've read about so far, it seems as though this one seems to be more geared towards the PC audience, though. Now, I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing or anything like that. If that's the target audience they want to go for, I don't see anything wrong with that. Whether it succeeds or not will depend on how well Valve markets this, though. And so far, based on what I've been hearing, especially with the pre-orders, though, it seems to be off to a good start, although right now it seems to be you can only get it through, Valve at this moment, as we haven't heard any words about it being available at retailers or not. So time will tell if it will do well or not. As far as it being a Switch killer, or as some folks like to say it is, I'm not sure it is a Switch killer, considering it seems the Switch and Steam Deck seem to be targeting different audiences, though. That said, though, if it does start eating through the Switch's sales number, if Steam Deck truly does something like that to the Nintendo Switch, then that might put pressure on Nintendo to maybe this might be the time to do a Switch Pro or Switch 2 or anything like that. But we'll have to wait and see. But it is very, very interesting to see Valve kind of dip their toes in creating what is basically a portable PC in a certain degree. Also, I will admit the shape of the way the Steam Deck looks kind of reminds me a little bit of the Sega Game Gear, to where the control sticks are set. Kind of reminds me similar to what was the control setup for the Wii U gamepad for the Wii U, and also just curious to see where this will go with the Steam Deck, though. Right now, it doesn't interest me at this moment or anything like that. Then again, I'm not a PC gamer, though. I'm more of a console gamer / Nintendo fan and all that. But anyway, now that I give that part done with that part, we'll get to basically the quick My 2 Cent. Those are stories that kind of caught my attention, though, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details, though. You learned that Monster Hunter Stories 2 has so far seen like 1 million sales, or shipped 1 million copies on Switch and PC, which is certainly good, though. I mean, Monster Hunter has sort of had a good year so far with the release of Monster Hunter Rise, and now it seems Monster Hunter Stories 2 is going to do very well, though. I've been playing that game. So far, my early impressions is that the game is good, though. I do definitely enjoy it, though. I'm hoping the game does well enough that maybe a Monster Hunter Stories 3 will happen. That would be really neat, though. While there is some success, there has been reports that supposedly there are some issues with Monster Hunter Stories 2. Capcom supposedly is aware of this, and they will basically update it. Will fix it in a future update. I haven't run into any issues based on my time with it on the Nintendo Switch. I'm basing this off my time with the Switch version, though. So I haven't run into any issues that made the game unplayable, at least for me, though. But hopefully these issues can be fixed as soon as possible, though, because I do think Monster Hunter Story 2 is a good game, though. We also learned that supposedly Netflix's approach to video games so far seems to be mostly into these games will be available on your mobile devices, supposedly at no extra cost, as it seems as though if you're subscribed to Netflix, you'll just get access to these games. For now, they're aiming for mobile devices and all that stuff, so I'm still kind of curious how Netflix is approaching this, and I'm also curious how they're going to do this, especially with Apple's outrageous and ridiculous policy they have in terms of, like what we've seen so far with the streaming, with xCloud, Stadia, GeForce Now, and all that. So I'm curious to see how this is all going to play out, though. Whether it's a success or not remains to be seen on that. We also learned that basically, in terms of Famitsu sales so far, The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is off to a great start, and so far it's #1 in the sales charts in Japan. So that certainly is some encouraging signs indeed, though. Again, I've been playing that too. It's definitely a vast improvement over the Wii, though. As far as using the controller so far, it takes a little, there is somewhat of a learning curve, at least from my perspective, though, but it works, though. It's not 100% perfect, but it does certainly work, though. And we also got a chance to see the Psychonauts 2 trailer and hear about a bit of the previews, though, or read about, though. And based on what I've been hearing so far, this is definitely on my radar, though. I am a fan of 3D platforms, though. I'm playing a little bit of the first Psychonauts games to sort of get up to date on the game, to be exact, though. And since this is coming on Game Pass, this is certainly something I will keep an eye out, especially since I have Game Pass, and I'll probably download it onto my Xbox Series S. And last but certainly not least, we finally have the trailer for Jackass Forever. I remember watching that back in, the late 90s, early 2000s, with Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O and all that stuff. And they've done like 3 Jackass movies, including 2 spin-offs, Bad Grandpa and Action Point. Between the two, I think Bad Grandpa was better than Action Point. Action Point was okay, not perfect and all of that. All I can say about, based on my reaction to the Jackass Forever trailer, is this. If this is the last time we're going to see Knoxville and his crew, if this truly is the last time, and most likely it will be, though, let's end it on a high note. Let's end it on with a bang, though. One thing I read about that I think is a little bit unfortunate is that Bam Margera will not be in this in Jackass 4. There's been some reports, some issues ranging from him breaching his contract to having several personal issues and all that stuff, which is, while unfortunate, though, it's I do hope he does get, if this story is true, though, I do hope he's able to get help. That, and also we know that Ryan Dunn will not be in it, sadly, because he passed away in 2011. So not everyone is going to be there, which is unfortunate, though. But I am still looking forward to seeing Jackass Forever, nevertheless. Okay, with the quick My 2 cent part now done, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with June's NPD. And so basically, the NPD has released the sales and what did well in the month of June 2021. And apparently, based on everything that's come out so far, it seems as though both Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony do have something to at least celebrate based on what the NPD has reported, plus one game in particular, which I was a little bit concerned about given the sales number and how they did in both Japan and Europe, seems to be doing okay here in the West, though. In terms of software sales, let me get this up. Can I get it up? Okay, in terms of the software sales, though, it shows that June 21 NPD, Ratchet & Clank, and Mario Golf set the franchise record, though. So obviously those two games, despite some criticisms that both of those games have had, it doesn't seem to have been enough to stop the game from doing very well. In terms of the top 20 best-selling games, we have Ratchet & Clank at number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at number 2, Mario Golf Super Rush at number 3, MLB The Show 21 at number 4, Scarlet Nexus at number 5, Resident Evil Village at number 6, Mario Kart 8 at number 7, Minecraft at number 8, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales at number 9, Mortal Kombat 11 at number 10, Animal Crossing New Horizon at number 11, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 at number 12, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 13, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 14, Super Mario 3D World at number 15, Mass Effect Legendary Edition at number 16, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 at number 17, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 18, Pokemon Sword and Shield at number 19, and Sea of Thieves at number 20, though. I wonder if CC had to do with that whole Pirates of the Caribbean Jack Sparrow stuff that they put out, although been hearing there's been some issues with that one lately, though. So as far as the best-selling games so far this year, though, top 10 best-selling games so far this year: Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at number 1, Resident Evil Village at number 2, MLB The Show 21 at number 3, Super Mario 3D World at number 4, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales at number 5, Monster Hunter Rise at number 6, Mario Kart 8 at number 7, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 8, Outrider at number 9, and Minecraft at number 10. In regards to the top 10 best-selling games of the last 12 months, it has Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at number 1, Madden NFL 21 at number 2, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 3, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales at number 4, Ghost of Tsushima at number 5, Super Mario 3D All-Stars at number 6. Kind of interesting to see it up there considering the limited release on that game, though. Animal Crossing New Horizon at number 7, NBA 2K21 at number 8, Marvel's Avengers at number 9, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Over at terms of the best-selling Nintendo games of June 2021, though, outside of Minecraft, which is at number 10, though, being the only third-party game, all of them are basically first-party games, though. So basically, Mario Golf Super Rush is at number 1, Mario Kart 8 at number 2, Animal Crossing New Horizon at number 3, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at number 4, Super Mario 3D World at number 5, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 6, Pokemon Sword and Shield at number 7, New Super Mario New Pokemon Snap at number 8, and Super Mario Party at number 9, though. Over on the PlayStation side, though, Ratchet & Clank, let's see, 1, 2, Sony had several first-party games that made it onto the top 10 best on the PlayStation platform. You have Ratchet & Clank at Rift Apart at number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at number 2, MLB The Show 21 at number 3, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales at number 4, Resident Evil Village at number 5, Scarlet Nexus at number 6, Minecraft at number 7, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 8, Ghost of Tsushima at number 9, and Final Fantasy VII Remake at number 10, though. Over on the Xbox side of things, though, in terms of the top 10 best Xbox games of May 2021, oh, they're saying May? Oh, wow. They are saying May. Oh, that's interesting, though. But anyway, they have Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at number 1, Call of Duty Modern Warfare at number 2, Resident Evil Village at number 3, Mass Effect Legendary Edition at number 4, Assassin's Creed Valhalla at number 5, Scarlet Nexus at number 6, Forza Horizon 4 at number 7, It Takes Two at number 8, Mortal Kombat 11 at number 9, and MLB The Show 2021 at number 10. Over on the hardware side, though, interestingly enough, though, Xbox had a very good 2021, as it seemed to have overtaken the PS5 for the month of June. And from this article from GameBeat, it points out that Xbox and Switch outsell the competition, though. It basically reads this, though. The Xbox Series X and S and Nintendo Switch came out on top, depending on how you count. Xbox Series X and S was the best-selling hardware platform in dollar sales for the month of June, while Nintendo Switch led in unit sales. This was June's best ever for Microsoft brand in terms of console sales. June dollar sales of Xbox consoles set a new record for the Xbox platform, besting the previous high set in June 2011. For 2021 as a whole, the Switch is still dominant. Nintendo Switch was the best-selling hardware platform during 2021's first half in both dollars and sales unit, and the supply-constrained PS5 continues to set records of its own. PlayStation 5 remains the fastest unit-selling console hardware platform in the U.S. history for the lifetime sales through 8 months on the market, excluding portables, though. So the takeaway from a lot of this is that despite some of the criticisms people had with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and Mario Golf Rush, though, it seems to be that wasn't enough to stop those games from becoming a huge success both for Sony and Nintendo. And that certainly is nice, especially with Mario Kart Rush, though. If I'm saying the name correctly, though, apologize if I'm not, though. Microsoft's got to be happy, though, with the fact that basically the Xbox Series X and S seems to be doing very well for them. It did very well in June of 2021, though. So obviously Microsoft's got to be happy, though. It seems that their strategy or their approach for the Xbox Series S and X along with Game Pass seems to be paying off for Microsoft. So it's obviously they're doing what they can to learn from the lessons and from the mistakes that happened during the Xbox One era. I could say the same thing about Nintendo. They had to learn from their mistakes during the Wii U era, and look where the Switch is, though, right now, though. But the other one I do want to point out is that I'm happy to see that Scarlet Nexus has made it onto this list, though. While it may not be at the top of the list, it's nice to see this one doing well on the NPD, though. I was a little concerned considering that there were reports that it didn't do as well in Japan or in the UK or in Europe, though. But it's nice to see that that game is doing very well here in the US, though. So overall, both Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony do have to be proud of something, especially with the June 21 NPD reports. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with an interesting report in regards of the Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our My 2 Cent video. Before I get started with part 2, though, I've got to mention that if you're interested in any of the stories I'm talking about, or anything that I'm talking about in this video, I'll have a link in the description down below in this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And the other thing I want to point out is that there won't be any video review for this week, though. Got some things that I'm ironing out and some stuff I'm ironing out for the next video review that I'm trying to do. So there won't be no video review for this week, though. So that's something I want to point out, though. But anyway, we're going to get to part 2, and this one has to do with some interesting information that has come out in regards of a Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch. Now, one of the big surprises that was announced during E3 2021 this year during Nintendo's digital presentation was the announcement of Metroid Dread. This is a name that a lot of Metroid fans and Nintendo fans have heard for a long time. Supposedly the sequel to Metroid Fusion and all, and we've heard stories of how this game got canceled and all. Canceled and then restarted and then canceled. So to finally see it happening, though, now on the Nintendo Switch is definitely great, and it's definitely one of my titles I'm looking forward to when that comes out, I believe in October, along with the Switch OLED, though. But one entry in the series that was sort of announced during E3 2017, but has sort of ran into trouble, has been, Metroid Prime 4, the sequel to basically the original GameCube and Wii release of the Metroid Prime Trilogy, though, which was basically a collection of all 3 of the Metroid Prime games, though, which were really good, and I still enjoyed those games till this day, though. But basically, with the whole issue with Metroid Prime 4, though, there were some rumblings about not only with that, but rumors about a Metroid Prime Trilogy coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, there have been some back and forths about this rumor, too, including a former developer who used to work at Aulx Studio chiming in on this, thinking that it would be extremely difficult to basically bring the game over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, he could be right with what he said, though, but he can also be wrong at the same time. I'll admit, I'm not a game developer. I don't know jack squat about how to develop a video game, but at the same time, we've seen Wii games get ported over to the Nintendo Switch, such as Super Mario Galaxy, which was part of the Super Mario 3D All-Stars, and the recent release of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD for the Nintendo Switch. So it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility that the Metroid Prime Trilogy could make its way over to the Nintendo Switch. Well, a latest report has come out that basically seems to point to the fact that the game actually might be done and might be ready to go. Now, it is worth pointing out this comes from Veteran Beast, Jeff Grubb, who's recently made this comments, though. I know some people have some issues with his reporting, considering after the whole Switch Pro thing didn't turn out to be true, at least for this year, though, and instead we got the Switch OLED, although some of the rumors about using an OLED screen and a better kickstand turned out to be true after all. So it is worth pointing out this information should be taken with a grain of salt, though. That said, I won't completely rule out this rumor could be true, and it is a little bit more believable than the whole Switch Pro rumor we've heard this year, though. So anyway, in an article posted on Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, according to proven industry insider and VentureBeat journalist Jeff Grubb, the development of the Switch version has already been completed, and it's now just a matter of Nintendo finding the right time to release it. On this week's episode of his Giant Bomb show, which has a paywall, they point out, the source of the latest update says that the video game giant is waiting for the best moment to reveal and release the trilogy, with the pandemic still causing some problems, along with the delay of Metroid Prime 4. Here's exactly what Jeff had to say. Quote, the game is done and Nintendo is holding it. Whether or not Nintendo release it now or later depends on other factors. I think the game is sitting in their pockets for whenever Nintendo decides it's the right time, and Nintendo done this a lot recently, so it's not unusual. It's not a sign of something bad things happen. It's not a sign of lack of faith in Metroid. Nintendo can afford to sit on it, and that's how they treat it. I think the big problem for Nintendo for quite some time during the pandemic was Q&A. I think Nintendo was focus its quality assurance resource on one or two big projects at the time, and that meant some games that were basically finished were sitting on the side while they had their lockdown secure Q&A process, focusing on one or two more important games. Japan is still dealing with these issues, so I don't think those processes are going to open up anytime soon. The other factor for Metroid Prime Trilogy is that they're definitely going to be a market beat for Metroid Prime 4, almost certain. So right now we're getting Metroid Dread this year, and then I would imagine that Metroid Prime Trilogy is something they'll release close to Metroid Prime 4, whenever that is. The article also reads, quote, back in 2019, the Game Informer senior editor at the time, Imran Khan, I apologize, I'm not saying the name correctly, said the trilogy collection for Switch has long done and also hint how there was more Metroid stuff to anticipate. This was followed by a Swedish retailer listing the trilogy in May last year. More recently, the former lead designer of all three Metroid Prime games shared their own thoughts about the trilogy coming to Nintendo Switch, and felt like it was unlikely to happen. This response didn't go well with some people within the Metroid community, though. Now, like I said before, this is a rumor, so it is worth taking with a grain of salt. That being said, though, I could see some truth to this argument, to be exact. It is possible that because of the whole situation with COVID-19, though, a lot of the stuff basically means that a lot of the games couldn't be released on time and all that stuff. And then obviously clear they're still dealing with it, especially considering that Japan is still dealing with the whole COVID-19 situation, though. Other speculation is the possibility that they don't want to cannibalize, like, say, Metroid Dread. It says right now it seems the main focus for them is on that game, not Metroid Prime 4 at the time, though. It is also possible it could be true that they're waiting at the right moment to release it, though. Probably release that first before Metroid Prime 4, though. Personally, though, I can understand them trying to wait to release Metroid Prime Trilogy if this rumor is true. I personally think they should release it, though, because I really think there would be a great opportunity for those who may have missed out on it, though. But we'll have to wait and see, though. So overall, it is a rumor. It is worth taking with a grain of salt, though. But I wouldn't rule out the possibility that that Nintendo could be just waiting for the right time to release the Metroid Prime Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch. I hope it's soon, though. I personally would like them to release it soon, but my guess is that even if this rumor is true, it's possible they're going to wait until after Metroid Dread has officially come out, though. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3, and this one has to do with apparently a game that I never thought would be coming to the Nintendo Switch, but it sounds like it certainly is, and that is Dying Light Platinum Edition could be making its way over to the Nintendo Switch. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of our My 2 Cent video. And for this one, we're taking a look at what apparently may have been an unexpected announcement that a game called Dying Light Platinum Edition could be making its way over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, most people have heard the company Techland, though. They were the original ones that developed the game, I think, Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide, though. Before, basically, THQ had announced Dying Light 2, only finding out that Techland wasn't working on that, and that game pretty much has been in, development hell for so long, though. And this was, at that point, Techland basically started to branch out with their own game, Dying Light, which basically was somewhat of a open world / parkour zombie apocalypse, in a way kind of similar to what Dead Island was and all, but the game definitely was a hit with a lot of the critics and with fans, though, and the game certainly got a lot of updates over the years and all that. And basically, as of right now, we've learned that they have announced, Dying Light 2, and have been working on that game for quite some time, though. Now, about 2 years ago, I believe 2 years ago, though, they were interviewed in regards to the Nintendo Switch, and they made some interesting comments, though. While they said at the time that there was no plans to bring Dying Light 2 over to the Nintendo Switch, though, they did tease about the fact that they were bringing a game over to the Nintendo Switch. That game turned out to be an entry in the Call Juarez series called Call Juarez Gunslinger, which would be later released for the Nintendo Switch, though. Good game, to be exact, though. A little disappointed, though, that while there was a physical version, it turned out to be it was just an empty box with a piece of paper with a code and all that stuff. But either way, it turned out to be an enjoyable first-person game with a Wild West setting and all. So with that game out and all that, it certainly is interesting to hear the possibility that Dying Light, the first one, actually might be making its way over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, granted, Techland has not said anything at this time, so we don't know how accurate if the story is true or not, or if it's just some typo, though. But for now, it seems to be what we're hearing is that they are planning to bring it over. In several articles, though, on this one from The Gamer, it reads that, quote, developer Techland has announced that Dying Light Platinum Edition will be shambling on over to the Nintendo Switch in October. Spotted by both Nintendo Everything and PPE, this Ultimate Edition of the game will contain the main game, its 4 DLC expansion, and 17 skin bundle for $49.99, $50. A physical edition will come packed with a map of the slums and the old town, as well as a survivor guide and some stickers, though. Since Nintendo's hybrid platform has some unique features, Dying Light will also have full support for HD Rumble, gyro aiming, motion controls, touchscreen for menu navigation, and online and local co-op. It sounds like a relatively robust package, though the price may be a bit off-put for some for a delayed port. Even so, having spontaneous co-op with 4 systems could make for a great way to revise this title in the leading up to Dying Light 2 release, though. So, basically, this is a very interesting announcement that they are bringing this over. However, the gamer does make some interesting points that I think do raise some questions about this port and all that stuff. Assuming this port is true, here's what else they point out though. While it certainly is exciting to see Dying Light arrive on the Switch, I would like to know if all of that content is contained on the cartridge. It would be a shame for most of the DLC to be regulated to an eShop code that might become useless in the future. Many publishers in the past have required rather substantial download for Switch games for owners of cartridge, practically neglecting the entire physical edition. Goodie like mats and stickers are nice, but they really don't make up for the lack of a complete version though, which I will say that does raise some interesting points though, and I do have also some interesting points about in regards of the Switch version though. Like I said, assuming this is all true, I do like to know is who's handling this version. Is Techland handling this, or are they having like another studio handle the Switch ports, such as like how Bethesda had Panic Button handled Doom Eternal, and Wolfenstein 2, or how CD Projekt Red had Saber Interactive handled The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt and all, or are they taking the approach like we saw with 4A Games, where they handled the Metro Redux and they handled both The Last Light Redux and 2044, assuming if I'm getting that name correctly, that port as well. I also would like to know is how well is the game going to run? I assume, is it going to run at 30 frames per second? Is this a game where they're going to put basically the full game into the cartridge, or are you going to have to download the rest and all that stuff? So it raises a lot of questions about the Switch version though, so there certainly is we still need to know more before some of us can basically decide to pick up the Switch version, to be exact. On the other hand though, it does sound very interesting and all, and I'm very curious to see why Techland decided to bring this game over. Did Call Juarez Gunslinger do very well for them on the Nintendo Switch? They decided, let's see if we could bring Dying Light over, to be exact. So it's possible they may have decided, Switch can handle Dying Light. Now, Dying Light 2, on the other hand, that could be different, to be exact. So I would say, I will admit that I will say that it is possible that it's unlikely Dying Light 2 may not make its way over to the Nintendo Switch and all, but in an age where Doom and Doom Eternal and Wolfenstein 2 and Witcher 3 Wild Hunt can make its way over to the Nintendo Switch, I won't completely rule it out and say it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, but right now it doesn't seem, right now I have my doubts that Dying Light 2 will make its way over to the Nintendo Switch. Either way though, assuming this information is true though, it is going to be very interesting to see how Dying Light plays, the first one plays on the Nintendo Switch. So overall though, very interesting announcement though. Still want to hear some concrete information from Techland though, but definitely open to seeing the original Dying Light make its way over to the Nintendo Switch, nevertheless. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and this one has to do with some serious allegations that Activision and Blizzard is facing recently. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video. Now, before I get started talking about this, I do want to give a bit of a warning on this one. The story that has come out so far, assuming these allegations are true, though, are going to sound very disturbing, though, and I do want to give sort of a heads up about what we're about to hear, though, and this has to do with allegations regarding Activision and Blizzard, though. Now, Activision and Blizzard is basically it's also, like EA, been known for some controversies. Some of the most controversy that Activision Blizzard are known for is its CEO Bobby Cox, in terms of his pay raise and all, to basically the whole idea of letting people go and all that stuff because it didn't make all the money in the whole wide world, to Activision and Blizzard in terms of taking winnings from a Hearthstone player, Blitzchung, over his free Hong Kong protests, though, although they had to backtrack on a lot of that stuff, though. So Activision and Blizzard are well known for some of their controversies, and other companies like EA and even Ubisoft, though. But lately, there has been some reports about toxicity in a lot of these workplaces, though. Ubisoft recently went through a lot of issues of allegations of sexual harassment and so forth. So there's been a lot of criticism towards towards a lot of those companies, though. And recently, though, we are learning now Activision Blizzard is under fire for basically a lot of inappropriate action in the workplace that has led to these being very serious allegations that the state of California has stepped in. And if these allegations are absolutely true, if they are, this is very serious, though. This is very damning, though. The first article, let me get this out, is from Destructoid, and according to them, they're reading, quote, "The California Department of Fair Employment and Housing has filed suit against developer-publisher Activision Blizzard over allegations that the studio has fostered a toxic work culture of racial discrimination, sexual harassment, bullying, and chest-beating frat house behavior. The suit, filed in the Superior Court of California on July 20th, is a result of a 2-year investigation by the agency featuring testimony and evidence from a body of employees working at the studio. Originally reported by Bloomberg Law, the lawsuit cites example of abusive and harmful behavior within the company walls, seen almost always directed towards women or minority employees. The suit alleged that women working on the World of Warcraft team are frequently targeted of unwanted advances, demeaning comments, and non-consensual physical contact. Male employees are accused of persisting engaging in sexual banter, B-A-N-T-R, including jokes about rape, while superiors excuse a tendency to play video games together while degrading their workload to the studio's women employees. It also alleged that certain company individuals have developed a reputation for sexual aggressive behavior portrayed by some staff as a celebratorial personal triad, though. Elsewhere in the document, an example cited where an African-American woman requested a day off from work was asked to write in a full-page document explaining what she intends to do with her free time, a request that's obviously not part of the company's policy. The lawsuit details an obnoxious bro-culture environment, citing improper events such as cube crawl, where male employees drink constant amount of alcohol while making their way through the office, engaging in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. Continue on. Among the most shocking story, however, is a report that an Activision Blizzard employee took her own life while on a company trip with a male supervisor. It is suggested that the employee has been previously harassed at work, allegedly having nude images shared at the company party. Activision Blizzard strongly denied that this particular evidence had any connection with the company's activity, though, saying that it was sickened by the DFEH disgraceful and unprofessional decision to include these events in the lawsuit. The DFEH is seeking legal injunction to force Activision Blizzard to comply with the workplace protection standards. Additionally, the DFEH is seeking payment adjustments, benefits, and lost back pay for studio's women's employees. The state of California is demanding a trial by juror, though. An Activision Blizzard spokesman responds to the allegations with the following statement: "We value diversity and strive to foster a workplace that offers inclusive for everyone. There's no place in our company or industry or any industry for sexual misconduct or harassment of any kind. We take every allegation seriously and investigate all claims. Case related to misconduct actions was taken to address the issue." The DFEH included distorted and in case false description of Blizzard's past conduct, continues the statement. "We have been extremely cooperative with the DFEH throughout their investigation, including providing them with extensive data and apt documentation, but they refused to inform us what issue they perceive. They were required by law to adequately investigate and have good faith discussing with us the better understanding and to resolve any claims or their concerns before going to legitimacy, Litigation, but they failed to do so. The picture the DFEH paint is not the Blizzard workplace of today. Activision Blizzard is the latest in an increase of long line of gaming studios to receive allegations of harboring toxic workplace culture, particularly in the treatment of each company's women employees. In recent years, League of Legends developer Riot Games, Assassin's Creed and Far Cry studios Ubisoft, former Solow developers Lab Zero Games, and Detroit producers Quantic Dreams have all faced serious allegations of abusing workplace environment. A 2018 lawsuit filed against Quantum Dreams by a former employee was dismissed on appeal by a partisan court earlier this year. Now, it is worth pointing out that Nintendo enthusiasts have reported on this, though, and apparently it seems as though Activision spokesman reached out to Jason Schreier of Bloomberg to issue a response, though. And according to the article, it points out, in response, Strider states that he has personally heard several stories about sexism and sexual misconduct at Blizzard and intends to report on the subject further. The Nintendo Enthusiast report also points out two updates, though. They point out a former Blizzard producer has collaborated some of the allegations against some of these claims, against one of them by the name of Aulx. This person claims this person harassed her at BlizzCon 2013, and that she remained silent in public until she left the company because she feared retaliation. Without getting into specifics, she goes on to say she experienced some of the other situations described in the lawsuit as well. She continues to say that many wonderful people work at Blizzard, but there has been a lack of accountability in the past. A second update points out that several other ex-employees have shared similar experience with harassment and discrimination, though. Now, if this is true, if these allegations are true, though, this is vile and disgusting, though. No one should be treated like that, especially women, especially for women who work in the video game industry, though. There has been some issues about, trying to get women into some issue about chasing women out of the video game industry, ranging from the workplace to the whole situation we saw with Gamergate to a certain degree. I do want to point out, I don't disagree with the ethic in game journalism or the disclosure argument. I'm not against that, but I am against those who have used it as a justification to harass and belittle people, especially women and all. So that part of Gamergate I don't 100% agree with, but this is disturbing, though. This is really adds more to why not everyone likes Activision. This just adds more to it, though. I hope there is I do hope that assuming these allegations are true, I hope there are some serious consequences to Activision and Blizzard. This is unacceptable. People should not be treated like that, and this certainly adds more to why some people are hesitant of entering to the video game industry. When you hear stories ranging like this, to crunch time in general, though, it just makes it very difficult for people to even consider joining the industry as a whole. And this is just downright vile and disgusting, to be exact. And I do hope there are some serious consequences for what happened, though, assuming this story is true. So overall, this just adds more to why not everyone likes Activision and Blizzard, though. And if these allegations are true in any way, though, I do hope that there are punishment to these folks who did this, though. This is unacceptable in any way. This kind of behavior should not exist, not only in the gaming industry, but in any industry in general, though. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about June 2021's NPD, though? Are you surprised to see Xbox Series X and X do very well? Are you surprised the Switch and the PS5 continue to do very well? Are you pleased to see Mario Kart Rush do well? Same with Ratchet & Clank Ripped Apart. What are your thoughts about this rumor about the Metroid Prime Switch Trilogy ready to go? Do you think this rumor is accurate? Do you think this is true? Or do you feel like, given some of the comments Jeff Grubb has made, especially with the Switch Pro and all, are you very hesitant to believe that this one is true at all? What are your thoughts about Dying Light actually, the first one, actually coming to the Nintendo Switch? Are you surprised by this announcement, though? Would you be willing to pick up the Nintendo Switch version? Or do you have some concerns ranging from how well will the game run on the Switch? And will they put everything into the cartridge, or is it going to have to be you have to download the rest? And what are your thoughts about this allegation of sexual harassment and toxic workplace at Activision Blizzard, this report that has came out, though? Are you disturbed by this in any way? Do you think that this is wrong for what Activision Blizzard did, though? Do you think that this just highlights there needs to be some kind of change in the culture in the gaming industry as a whole? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you watch this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!